Well, let's get started. We'll have people start popping in, and as you know, this is being recorded right now. So for those who were unable to make it today, we'll be circulating this. Everybody have the opportunity to watch our podcast. We'll give our members and clients and contacts a week to view it, and then after that, we will be publishing it out through our social media. So Levis Caycedo, it's a pleasure to have you here. Thank you so much for your time. As you know, we're here at the Be Smart podcast, and today we're going to be learning about how to leverage AI into everybody's business. Now, AI can be used with any business, and there's a lot of exciting tools out there, quite overwhelming, the tools that are out there. So, what we're hoping today is for you to first, we're going to go over your history. So what we like to do here is we're all entrepreneurs, we're all business owners. And so we want to hear your story, what you did to get to this point. And then from there, the rest of the podcast, we're going to then focus on your craft and really giving all of our viewers and members some great nuggets that they can utilize now for their business and implementing AI. So without further ado, Levis Caycedo, welcome. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks, Gil. Yeah, I'm happy to be here. Thank you so much for the invite, for giving me the opportunity and the platform to talk about my journey and the things that I've done over my career and now as a business owner. It's been and we could talk about it here in a minute, but yeah, it's been quite a journey. Going from University of Florida to then being in the Air Force, working on satellite programs and launching rockets and doing intelligence work, and then completely transitioning and pivoting towards a marketing career and owning my own marketing firm. So, but yeah, we can get into all of that here in during
Great.
this conversation.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, I'm excited to dive in. And I have to tell the audience that there's a significant amount of bias involved in this interview with you because you and I are like brothers. We've known each other since basically 1996 when you first arrived to the University of Florida. So we're both Gators, and we've been, close friends and like brothers ever since. So I apologize to the audience. You'll probably hear a lot of laughing and kind of reverting back to stories. But the fact that I've been able to see you develop from where you were back then to where you are now, and all of the different paths that you've taken to now being an entrepreneur, it's super exciting. And I've learned a lot from you. I respect you. I see you also as a mentor. And I know that the audience is going to really be excited to learn about your story. So let's just tee it up. I think the biggest thing here, let's talk a little bit about your background. How did you get here? Where's your family from? Where did you grow up before you went to the University of Florida?
Yeah, so I was actually born in Colombia. I was born in a little town called La Ceja near Medellin. But I didn't grow up there. I the first 9 years of my life, I was raised in Bogota, and so during that time, yeah, I went to school there. Spanish was my first language, and then around the age of 9, my dad brought me to live with him in the U.S. I lived in Hialeah, so I went
Mm.
to started off at was the name I can't even remember the name of the middle school, but then eventually made it into Miami Lakes Middle School.
Mm.
And then from there, we moved to Coral Springs, Florida. I went to Coral Springs High School, and then after high school, I went to the University of Florida, and that's where I met you. So yeah, that's
That's
where we
right.
became. Yeah, we had great times out at University of Florida. It was definitely a total shock for me going from South Florida and being a kid with my being raised by my dad and my stepmom and my sisters and living down there to now being all on my own. And it
And
was
I
great
wanted to,
meeting
I
you.
wanted,
Yeah.
I wanted to interject there. Sorry, because if memory serves me right, I believe your father was an entrepreneur as well. Didn't he own some businesses and all that?
Yeah, he owned businesses both in Colombia and in the US. And he had like different commercial real estate type things, type businesses. And but he also worked as a he was an air conditioning technician, so he knew all about HVAC, and he was really into engineering, although he never really got an engineering degree. But he was always pushing me to go into engineering. That was his thing. He's like, "Yeah, be an engineer, be an engineer." And that was the career or the track that I chose when I went to the University of Florida.
So, and we're going to get to your career where you spent the bulk of your time, but now being an entrepreneur and then seeing your dad as an entrepreneur back then, do you think that that had some influence, that a seed planted inside of you that eventually you wanted to go that route, or was it something that you kind of received that? Wanting to do that from somewhere else.
No, it was definitely the seed was planted by my dad. And also a lot of the people in my family back in Colombia who are all entrepreneurs. Like no one had a normal, 9 to 5 job. Everybody on my mom's side of the family was they were all entrepreneurs with their own businesses. They imported different types of retail things, so like clothing and perfumes and things like that. They would import and they would have retail shops where they would sell those items. My mom was also an entrepreneur, so she worked as an entrepreneur, back when I was younger. And then obviously my dad with his different business ventures, that all kind of planted the seed of me wanting to have my own business one day. Although the career track that I chose was more along the lines of, I wanted to serve my country. And so that's why, I wanted to get an ROTC scholarship so that I could become an Air Force officer and become part of the U.S. Air Force, and that seed was also planted by my dad because he was part of
Wow.
the Navy in Colombia, and so he
Mm.
always mentioned, love of country, especially the U.S. and how we came here. He came here when he was still young and became a U.S. citizen, and he always pushed that on me. You love America. Being an American is great, and all of that patriotism was really instilled in me since when I was in high school.
And in college, and let's now head over to your time at the university where we first met. I remember you did a lot. You were involved in a lot of different things. If you can talk to us about that, in terms of you were working, you were full time, you had a tough major, you were involved in RTC. So talk about all the different things that you were doing. How did you manage that, and how did that kind of shape you into what you're doing now?
Yeah, so I mean, when I came into the University of Florida, starting off with ROTC, definitely a lot of involvement of different activities that we had to do, whether it was going out and marching and being involved in that whole community of the ROTC students, as well as being in the in the fraternity that we were in, where we do different community service projects, and in the Hispanic what is it called? The Hispanic Association, Student Association, being part of that and doing service projects for them. And then in addition to that, my parents, they didn't come from money. So, I had to work during the time that I was going to college. And to pay for my own things, I had to have a car and to pay for my apartment. I was lucky enough or fortunate enough that I had the ROTC scholarship plus an additional amount that my parents had put in towards it was called there was something back then. I think it was the Florida plan, some like a college
Yeah, the
prepaid
prepaid
plan.
plan. Mhm.
Yeah, and so luckily for me, I was blessed enough that they had contributed to that. So I had my college credits paid for, but my living expenses I had to cover on my own.
That's awesome. No, I remember, and that was something that I admired a lot about you, that you were juggling ROTC, having to wake up early, those responsibilities that come with it, which is a lot. And at the same time, you're working. I remember, in that job as well, which was pretty
Mhm.
much a sales job and customer driven
Yeah.
job, which I think that interesting to understand maybe some of the correlations between those early skills that you learned in the job back then with now being an entrepreneur and having to have the sales hat on. Do you find that you draw upon some of that?
Yeah, because so in college, my during the time that I was there, so I had, let's see if I can remember correctly, the name, I worked at a restaurant, and it was
Hmm.
the Gainesville Ale House was the name of the restaurant that I worked at, and yeah, just being able to go in and talk to customers and having that one-on-one interaction, making sure that they were happy with the service and the things that you know the food that was served and all of that. So that definitely shaped my idea on how, or my thinking on how to deal with clients and how to deal with, sometimes customers were really picky or difficult, and other times they were really nice. So having the ability to sort of mold the way that I would talk to different clients or different customers on a daily basis, that also shaped the way that I handle customers now with being an entrepreneur.
That's great. And what's fascinating to me, and one of the things that I admired most about you, is your dedication to the academics, particularly engineering, which is for me, that's why I became a lawyer, so I don't have to, go through calculus and all those other really difficult classes. But you went through that, and for me, you didn't fit that prototype because you're also super fun. We had a great time, and
Well,
you're a great dancer, and you've always been such a outgoing person. And so, connecting that with being an engineer uh, was like, wow, Levis is doing this, and so talk about your time as an engineer student and how you ended up picking the specific part of engineering, and then which is really exciting is getting into the military with that background.
yeah. So when I first started, my initial career choice was going to be biomedical engineering. I had this thinking that I could become maybe, go into the medical field or something along those lines, because of a couple of classes that I took during high school that opened my eyes into the medical field, what you could do there. But then I soon realized that that was not the right career path for me because I wanted to do more on the side of the entrepreneurship and building things. Um, and so that's why I decided to go more into like the industrial engineering side of things. And yeah, so eventually, right, I took all the right classes, I did all that. And then that led me to a career in the Air Force, which used the same skill set or the knowledge of the learnings that I got for my industrial engineering degree. And that helped me a lot through my career in the Air Force, managing engineering projects in that realm. So yeah, it's kind of like one thing led to another, and eventually it was actually a really great career choice because not only did I learn how businesses operate, like from an industrial engineering standpoint, it's like, what are the things that they need to check, where there's manufacturing, the statistics and the metrics and the KPIs that businesses need to track, and that's all part of the industrial engineering set of courses. So yeah, it kind of molded me into the path that I eventually took.
Approximately how many years were you in the Air Force?
So I spent 12 years active duty, and then in 2015, I came to a decision point. It was like a fork in the road where, and I had just gotten deployed. I came back from deployment, and so that the fork in the road was, all right, do I want to continue in this career path, being a full-time Air Force officer, or do I want to switch and start doing something more on my own, where I just got that itch where I wanted to do my own, I wanted to have my own business. Um, so at the 12-year point, which was, back in 2015, I made this decision to transition out of active duty and into the reserves. And then that's when I went and got my MBA.
Hmm.
And I really didn't have an inkling that I wanted to get into marketing. But once I went through the different classes at UCLA Anderson, I really started to love all of the different aspects of marketing, marketing, finance, just in general business, like how to operate businesses, how to make businesses successful. Um, so yeah, that's really where I fell in love with the marketing side of things, and where I decided, okay, I think I want to go towards this direction. I didn't really have an idea yet of how I wanted how it was going to come about, but
Mhm.
that's sort of the direction I wanted to get into.
So before, and we're getting close to how you became an entrepreneur officially. But before that time, so during the time that you're in MBA or doing your MBA courses, and then you're now on reserve, were you working as a private, like as a contractor during that time frame? What were you doing work wise?
Yeah, yeah. So I left. I left active duty, and then I continued on in the reserves. But obviously, I had to. I have a family. I have to make money and provide for my family. So I became a contractor where I was doing very similar work that I was doing when I was active duty, but now I was wearing a different hat, wearing the hat of an advisor and a counselor to people who are still active duty. Yeah, I became a Air Force contractor. I worked for a company called SAIC. They're one of the biggest government contractors that provides engineering services to the DoD. And so I worked for them, working along the same lines of the same type of work that I was doing while I was active duty.
Very cool. And talk to me about some, if you're able to talk about non-classified things, but talk about some of the really exciting projects that you worked on as engineer, whether in active duty or on reserves, and as a private contractor.
Well, the most exciting job that I had in the Air Force was being it's called Government Mission Integration Manager, or GMIM. As a government, as a GMIM, what you're in charge of an entire rocket launch. And so you're quarterbacking, you're kind of in the middle between the rocket side of things and how the rocket is being developed, and the other side of it, which is the satellite that's going to go on top of that rocket. And so you're quarterbacking this entire mission from start to finish. It's usually set in 2 year centers where you start at the beginning of the 2 years, coming up with the requirements, figuring out, all right, what's the type of rocket that the satellite needs to be on, the weight distribution, all the different engineering aspects and tasks that need to be done to ensure that at the end of the 2 years, you're out at the launch site getting ready and launching the rocket. And it was really cool because I got to see from start to finish that entire project and then go out to Cape Canaveral and then sit on console and go through that whole process of, okay, all the different checks and the different things that need to happen in order for that rocket to be launched. And then go through the countdown procedure and eventually watch out the window and see the rocket being launched, which is really
That
cool.
that's extraordinary, Levis. I did not
Yeah.
know that. And
Yeah.
I just can't help to think about your dad and your
Hmm.
mom, how exciting that was, how proud they were of you, going
Yeah.
back when you mentioned in high school how, he was gearing you towards that, and literally you're launching rockets.
Yeah, it was really cool. That probably was the highlight of my Air Force career was while getting to sit down and watching that rocket being launched.
Well, I look forward to when you write a book about it. I'm sure there's a lot of great things that you can draw from that experience that you can apply towards entrepreneurship and being a business owner.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So now we are leading up to absolute marketing. So before we get to that point, what there was something that happened, or there was a moment that you said to yourself, or you're talking with your wife, like, this is the time, and we're gonna make this happen. And you may have known what you want to get into, maybe you don't, maybe you just made the decision that you were going to do it and let everything else fall into place, or maybe you had some specific opportunities that came about. Walk us through how you made that transition from the corporate life into entrepreneurship.
Yeah. So the way that came about is so we moved to Utah in 2021, right? Right, almost like in the middle of the pandemic, or as the pandemic was starting to settle down. And I was still working as a contractor supporting the Department of Defense. Um, but then I started to get that itch, like, okay, I want to do something different. I wasn't really getting job satisfaction out of the work that I was doing in the DoD. And I was kind of looking around because I did have some successes in real estate in when we were living in California. And so I had a nice little nest egg that I wanted to use towards either investing in a business, buying a business, or investing in other ventures. So I was looking around, going on Biz Buy Sell and the different platforms, looking for potential businesses that were up for sale. And I found an opportunity out here in Utah. There was a business that was being sold out of Salt Lake City that was dealing in the marketing realm. Um, so right before that, my current business partner and I had been working on some real estate deals, and he owned Absolute Marketing. And so when I found this other opportunity for a marketing business that was being sold, I brought that to him and I said, "Why don't I buy this other business, and then you and I can become partners and we can join forces. I can operate this business that's being sold here out of Utah. You have the Absolute Marketing, and we can combine the two entities and work them together." So, but when I brought that to him, he said, "No, don't bother with that. Why, go after some other business that you don't know much about, and then you have to do a lot of the due diligence and all the stuff that goes on with when you're buying a business." So he said, "Just come over, buy part of my business, join me, and we can be partners. And you can buy a huge part of the business and continue on from there." Um, so that's essentially how it came about. That's really how it happened. And then I looked at his books, looked at the operations on how everything was done, and yeah, it took me about good 6 to 9 months of looking into the business, seeing how things operated, and I was like, yeah, all right, let's do it. And so yeah, that's how it came about.
And I heard you had an extraordinary attorney representing you as well.
Yeah, we had this guy from Florida. This yeah,
He's a great
yeah.
guy,
So
great guy.
yeah, this great lawyer from Florida, super rock star attorney that helped me with the transaction, which is awesome.
And it was very much an honor. I remember the call that you made, and so something that I always mention to people that are looking to get into business or and become an entrepreneur, that there are different routes to get to that point. Obviously,
Right.
there's a route of if you have an idea, you develop it. Whether it's a service-based business or if you develop a product and you want to sell it, or you want to sell products, or the other route, which I think is great, which is to buy an existing business that already has a history of performance and predictability for the future. So that was great that you took that route, and eventually then now the owner and the head of Absolute Marketing. So that's a great story, and something that I always like to highlight to people who are looking to make that pivot from corporate over to that. And I found that over the years that when somebody is looking to make that change from corporate to entrepreneurship life, that the acquiring a business is much more, even though it's still difficult and the difficulty of running a business, but you're kind of what you're getting into, and so because you've been in corporate life, there's structure, rules and procedures, things that you follow, and with an existing business, there might be that level of that already in place, and then you can just build upon that. So
Right. Yeah, exactly. And then also the fact that, you can look at a business that's already been operating and has successes. And with my industrial engineering background and strategy and the things that I learned throughout my career, I could come in and say, okay, well, I like how this part of the business is running, but perhaps there's some opportunities here where we can make some efficiencies or increase, uh, you know, do things better in certain aspects of the business to make it work even better than before I purchased it.
that's right. That's right. So we're gonna then now about to pivot to the second part, which is to talk about your area of expertise with AI and how businesses can leverage that. But before we get there, I wanted to ask you this. Would be very interesting to hear your response. So, what are those those differences, or maybe some surprises that you had between being in corporate life and then getting into entrepreneurship and being a business owner? Like
Mhm.
they say, there's always, they say that the grass is always greener, and I get that. I've owned my business for 20 years or so, and there are times where I'm like, I just want to, I don't want all this responsibility. Then I quickly, change about that. It
Yeah.
lasts doesn't last too long, that thought. But anyways, so now that you've gone through corporate life for so many years and then the military, and now that you're a business owner, what are those surprises that came about during that time? Whether positive things or maybe like, oh, I didn't expect this to be that way, in a good or a bad way. What's your
Right.
kind of your experience so far?
Yeah, I guess with this particular business, and every business is different, right? Every situation is going to be slightly different. But what I found as a kind of a big surprise to me was, or a big culture shock is a better way to put it, is, my 9 to 5 life in a corporate environment. A couple days here and there, you'd work late. Sometimes, oh, okay, something needs to be done by Monday, so you kind of put a couple hours over the weekend to make sure that it's complete. But now that I own my own business, I'm on 24/7. Like, it's my business and I have to make sure that everything is working properly. If a client needs to reach out to me, if something comes up and it needs to be answered right away, there's no like office hours. It just needs to be done and we get it done. So that's one of the, I guess, the biggest surprises or biggest shocks that I didn't have while I was an employee working in the corporate environment, where now as now that I'm a business owner, it's all the responsibility is on me, and obviously I delegate to my team and whatnot, but ultimately everything falls on me. So that would be one of the biggest things. On the positive side, one of the things that I love about being an entrepreneur, and especially in this type of business, is that everything is done remotely. I can work from anywhere. So
Mhm.
whereas before, when I was in the corporate environment, you have to ask permission, you have to put in leave or pay time off and days like to ask for permission to take vacation and things like that. Now I can work from anywhere. And so if I want to go visit my family, my parents and my sisters out in Florida, I can go down for there for a week or 2 weeks and just work from there and then be near family. So it gives there's so much more freedom being an entrepreneur from that standpoint than from being an employee.
That's great. Great insight. And definitely, the faster that an entrepreneur can realize that you're on 24/7, the it's more, you can manage your emotions a lot better.
Yeah.
Uh, and I also get asked quite often, like, well, if you own your own shop, do you have more time for yourself? And my answer is absolutely not.
Hmm.
But you have the liberty of managing your time,
Right.
and and that and that's a very key kind of insight that I learned over the years. And so, obviously you're going through, you've gone through that process now, and realizing, what the expectations are once you own
Right.
your business. And the other thing too is that people say, "Oh, well, it's great that you're your own boss," and this. And I said, "No." When I realized that my boss are my clients,
Yeah.
it's
Exactly.
humbling at that point.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And it's like it went from having one boss to now I have like 30 bosses, and each of them
Right.
ask for different things. So, and it's a matter of being able to manage all of that and having a good team around you that you can delegate tasks to. Because I can't do this all by myself. I have to have my team, and a good operations manager, a good set of client managers, and then the tech people who are going to be doing the work behind the scenes. And I'm sort of orchestrating everything, right? Making sure that things are being done, the tasks are getting done on time, that the clients are, if they ask for something, that we're responding to them and giving them good customer service. So as the business owner, you're also not just in like responsible for everything, but you're a an orchestrator, or what do you call that? The guy that when in the opera or the orchestra, that's the
Yep,
conductor. That's the word that I'm looking for.
exactly. Yeah.
You're the conductor.
That's
So
right. The
yeah,
image that I'm getting, and probably because I have three young kids, and is Mickey Mouse Fantasia. Where
yeah,
he's there, and like that, putting it all
exactly.
together, and making sure everything then finally sounds good. So
Yeah,
great insight on that, and it's just such valuable information to share with current business owners and those who are looking, obviously, to jump into entrepreneurship. So
right.
let's now dive into just a super exciting topic, AI. And yesterday I gave a talk to some entrepreneurs at St. Pete College, and I spent about a good half an hour talking about how I'm implementing AI into the law firm. And my song and dance to all of them was that no matter what business that you're in, you need to implement AI. Now, obviously, every business will implement it differently because every business is different, but the implementation or understanding what AI is, and then from there, understanding what tools are available, and then implementing those tools within your business is something that is just, it's not like maybe should I do that. To me, it's like you absolutely have to do that.
Right.
And I always look back. I was talking when I was talking yesterday. I said to the group, it's just like when computers first came out, which were at that point I remember the Commodore 64s, but you know it was becoming more accessible, and the businesses who adopted the utilization of a computer faster had that advantage over those who adopted later. And then you get into the implementation of the internet, and utilizing the internet as a source of information. Whoever adopted that first, had the head start, and then you jump into then websites, boom, and then you jump into social media. The early adopters of
Yep.
social media for their business was a huge thing. And then you get into the apps, using applications or software as a service. So you see this history over the last 20 years or 30 years really, of just technology just really taking off, and then being able to implement it very quickly into your business. So I'm very aware of that historical significance, and businesses understanding what that means and being able to implement that. So, with that said, I'm going to hand it over to you. Obviously, I'll guide with questions, but let's start with the basics. And what is AI? And if you can give the audience an explanation of that. Something I'm not going to put you on the spot for this one, but although it's up your lane, I remember it took me a long time to understand what SEO meant, and like
Yeah.
what was the importance of it. And I had to dig through YouTube videos and Google searches, and finally like figuring out, what it is. So if you can just dumb it down for us, Mr. Engineer and business owner, what is AI? And then what are you seeing as some positive trends on implementing it for a business?
So okay, so to really dumb it down, so I know a lot of people are currently they're aware of ChatGPT, where you go to the website and you put in your prompt, you ask the question, and then the AI comes back with an answer. Um, in the most basic sense, there's a lot of math and a lot of statistics that's on behind the scenes where the AI is trained on all this different kinds of data. It's trained on basically the entire internet, and it's able to go out and look for articles and questions, and then come back with an answer. And it's becoming super intelligent, where it can actually reason when you put in a prompt, it can reason through that prompt and tell you and give you an answer. So it's super exciting. It's something that our agency has been getting a lot more and more into, where we're now offering all these different kinds of services. And we can get into those here in a minute, but just to kind of just explain really what it's all about. There's just so much engineering and software development and things that are going on behind the scenes. I'll give you an example. Like, people are now building complete websites and applications, and they don't even know how to code. They just
Mhm.
go to the AI system and they say, "Hey, I want to build a website that does X, Y, Z. How do I do it?" And then implementing, they bring in different kinds of AIs that can help them through that process. But it, at the end of the day, they can go in and code a fully functioning website that does things that, where in the past it took teams of engineers to build. So it's super exciting. There's so much to be done. There's so much to be learned about AI that you know I'll tell you right now, if your business is not getting into AI, you're going to be left behind, and you're going to be one of the dinosaur businesses that just, folds, just because you're not getting into this new technology.
So a couple of how I kind of conceptualize AI on a very basic level, and I want to see what you agree with. So, on a very basic level, we look at what Google has done over the last 20 plus years, okay? And then comparing what ChatGPT does. So, before ChatGPT was around, you would go to Google as your main source and you would type in uh, you're doing a search on whatever it is you're trying to find an answer for. And so those searches had to land on websites where somebody was answering that question,
Yeah,
right? And so then at that point, your responsibility in your searches is to understand, okay, here are all these websites that potentially will provide an answer to this question. And so then you think about reliability. Okay, which of those websites or those authors are reliable so that I'm getting a reliable answer to my question. And so if there's hypothetically 10,000 articles written on my question that's worldwide, the little spiders that Google has and is going and searching the search engine and looking for the keywords, and boom, it comes back and it ranks, and then you're looking. Now with ChatGPT, the difference is that it could take hypothetically those 10,000 web pages that talk about an article and being able to synthesize a response to you versus
exactly.
you having to look at the website of X and YZ person. And so what would hypothetically take me as a user to go through, obviously I go through 10,000, I'd maybe only go through maybe 5 or 10 websites and then trying to figure out, okay, take bits and pieces and then come to a conclusion that this is it. Because of the speed of AI and the processing of the microchips is so fast that it can go and analyze 10,000 web pages on that and then provide you with the work right then and there.
Right.
So
Exactly. Well, and the thing is it doesn't actually analyze those 10,000 pages at the speed of the request. What it is that these AIs, or these systems, have been trained on, basically, they give it the entire internet. They say, learn all this material. So now the AI knows it already. Sometimes what I've seen in, when I put in prompts, it does go out and it does check, and it's really fast at reading through different articles, but it'll also do the same kind of thing where it'll look at like the top 10 authoritative articles on a particular subject, and it'll come back and say, here's the synthesized version, or of the response that you're looking for.
exactly. And so
Yeah.
that's like what we're talking about right now is something that in my I utilize it on a personal level. So now I make a differentiation between, okay, I have to figure this out, and I'll now know the difference. Okay, I'm going to go to Google because of this, or I have to go to ChatGPT for that.
Right.
And so on a basic level, that AI can be used by anybody, whether you're a business owner or not, just to help you, speed up your the learning curve on issues that we are tackled with every day, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
now let's get into um, the more niche products, AI products that are out there that I know your company um, currently offers and provides services for, and walk through that. And I do want to mention this: Absolute Marketing. You guys are a B Law member of the firm, so I want to thank you for being a member. Um, and it's an honor to have you there. And many of our viewers here are B Law members as well. So again, we want to thank you for being a part of our B Law membership. And so, anyways, I'm gonna throw it over to you so you can show us all of the different tools and resources that are out there and how businesses are implementing them. Go ahead.
Yeah. So some of the ways, there's basically three major ways, and then we can kind of niche down even further from there. But there are three major ways that we are helping clients with when it comes to AI. Number one is having a 24/7 virtual receptionist that can answer phone calls, and they speak like a normal person would. And I can even show you guys here in a little bit, show you a demo of how that works. But it'll pick up the phone and it'll speak just like how you and I are speaking right now. And they'll say, "Hey, uh, welcome to Absolute Marketing. How can I help you?" The client will then speak, ask whatever request they have, and so that's one way that we could use AI is like I mentioned, the 24/7 virtual receptionist. So now for a business owner, you don't have to have a live, receptionist on your team, which can save you thousands of dollars. I've heard some instances, people are paying $50,000 per year for a receptionist. So just having that by itself can save you thousands of dollars per year. Um, Another way that we use it is through automated review management. So, right, a lot of companies right now. So, say for instance, Gil, when you're trying to find a restaurant, how do you usually find a restaurant? Like, what's your way? Like, if you're in a new town and you want to find a place to eat, what do you usually do?
Yeah, so I'm gonna go to Open Table
Okay,
and look at what's available there and look through their reviews,
look at
and
the
then
reviews.
obviously I'm gonna go to Google and I'm
Yep,
gonna search best restaurants in Tampa and then look at their reviews. And then if I want to get a little bit, if I want to do another search, then I'll go to like Yelp, for
yeah,
example, or Facebook. So that would be like the four things that I'd be doing to ultimately look at reviews. What are people saying about the business or the restaurant?
exactly. And so one of the ways that we implement AI for businesses is to help them with the review management. And so as a business owner, like one of the best ways that you can ensure that you have the highest reputation on Google and all of these other platforms is so that is to make sure that you're always answering to the reviews that people are leaving on your business profile. And so when somebody leaves a 5-star review, you want to immediately go back in, go into the review management software and type in a response to that review. And so one of the things that we're using AI for is the AI is smart enough to recognize the writing of the review, and it'll respond accordingly to say, "Hey, thank you for leaving me this excellent review. We're glad that you joined us for dinner. Last Friday at 7 p.m. We love that you enjoyed our steak, and mashed potatoes, and can't wait to see you back again at our restaurant soon." So the AI is smart to be able to answer in that way, and then that'll take away time that you have to spend, going through and responding to each of these reviews one by one. So that's another way that you could use AI. Another
Let me
way that
let
you
me
could,
before you get to
yeah,
the third one, let me go back to the first one, which is the answering, having the virtual assistant answering. And you and you had performed a demo with me, and
yeah,
I was like thoroughly impressed. So definitely, if you could show if we're able to show it, That'd be great.
Yeah.
Um, and so because the podcast is, how to grow your business through, implementing AI. And so the way that we tie in and see if you agree with this, but for the first part of it is now that you're able to have 24/7 service, especially on the hours where, they would typically be closed, you could be capturing leads um, at any moment in time
At any moment in time.
that before you were not able to capture, either because if you did have somebody live, for example, well, if they're on another phone call, or if they had to go to lunch and nobody picked up the call and it fell through, or whatever it may be. But now having a 24/7, you're going to start capturing these leads that before you were missing. And so obviously this helps increase your the leads that you get, and obviously, you close these deals, it means more money. So just by
Exactly.
utilizing that AI, that gives a direct, tangible response to increased revenue. Is that your understanding?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you get an immediate increase in revenue, and also the fact that you're saving money by not having to have a receptionist, that can lead to, bigger profits for your business. But the three major things that I mentioned. So number one is the voice, the voice receptionist. Number two is the automated review management and the conversational AI texting, where if somebody sends a text to your business, you can have the AI respond as if it's a real person from the business, and it's smart enough to say and answer things that you train it on. So that kind of the texting and the review management is one. And then the last item is the AI appointment scheduling, where we can have it integrated with the voice answering service. And so if somebody says, "Hey, I want to schedule an appointment," you say you're a realtor, right? And then you have the AI voice messaging for a realtor that you could say, "Hey, we have a availability on Thursday between 1 and 3. Which one would you like?" And so the caller or the AI can then send a link to the caller and say, "Yeah, go ahead and click on that link and pick out the time that you want to meet with our team." So those are the three major ways that we're helping people implementing AI in their business to make it not only more profitable, but just saving them time and money across the board. So
Absolutely.
I can do you want me to just do a quick demo for you of
Yeah, that'd be great. It's
how
great.
the AI voice sounds? Okay.
Don't
Let
mess
me
it
get
up.
All right, let me call it here. Give me a second.
Okay.
So we'll do the demo. Can you hear it?
You've reached Absolute Marketing. Voice, are you ready to get started?
Yes, I'm ready to get started.
Great. Before we dive in, could you please share your name and phone number with me?
Yeah, my name is Levis Caycedo, and my phone number is 310-408-0311.
Let's jump into the demo. AI Assistant can help your business by improving customer engagement and streamlining inquiries. Would you like to try it out?
Yeah, I'd love to try it out.
Awesome. I'll need a bit more info to tailor the demo for your business. Could you tell me about your products or services and what you'd like to achieve when customers call?
Yeah, so we are a law firm. The name of our law firm is BlackRock Trial Lawyers. And what we'd like to achieve when people call our law firm is we want to be able to grab the information from the caller. And if the caller asks for, say, like a website or information about the business, we want to be able to give them information about our law firm and the services that we provide.
Okay. So you're looking to gather caller information and provide details about your law firm and services. Let's get started with the demo. I'll now simulate being your business's AI assistant in a sales and customer service role. Hello, this is Rachel with BlackRock Trial Lawyers. How can I help you today?
Yeah, I was wondering if you guys do anything regarding business law.
Absolutely. BlackRock Trial Lawyers, we offer a range of services, including business law.
And then are you guys oh, sorry. So do you guys assist with with acquiring new businesses? I'm interested in acquiring a business.
Yes, we do assist with business acquisition. Our team can guide you through the process to ensure everything goes smoothly. Would you like more information on how we can help?
Yeah, would I be able to schedule an appointment with one of your lawyers?
Absolutely. I can send you the link to book an appointment. First, may I have your full name and phone number?
Yeah, my full name is Levis Caycedo, and my phone number is 310-408-0311.
Thank you. Let me confirm. Your name is Levis Caycedo, and your phone number is 310-408-0311. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
I'll send you a text message now with the link to book your appointment. Thank you for participating in the demo. I'll now switch back to my previous role to discuss the next step. I'm sending you the link to book a sales appointment now. The link to book your appointment. Now let's switch back to my previous role and discuss the next step. Did you find this demonstration helpful?
Yeah, that was very helpful. Thank you. Okay.
Wow.
So that's pretty much how it works, and that's just a demo. But if we were to implement that in your business, we could have it, with the specific details about your business and what the type of questions that the AI can answer, and any links that we want to be able to provide to callers, whether it's a link to the website or a link to like a Calendly link, or things like that.
Excellent. I mean, when you first did that demonstration one-on-one, it was fascinating because from a law firm perspective, we're always looking to have coverage 24/7, which we get close to that only because my wife Monica is excellent on the phones and she'll get a call at 2 in the morning and she'll pick up, but that's not sustainable. So having this type of technology is just a real game changer. So for sure, I think everybody who's watching and has a business, this can be implemented for whatever type of business that you have, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then not only that, but we can set it up with both English primarily, but we have other languages available. So no, like in Florida, we have a lot of Spanish speakers, and so we can even set it up with a Spanish receptionist to answer the calls in Spanish, and it'll have like a normal. I think the accents that they have, that we have in the software is Argentinian, Mexican, and Chilean accents.
Oh,
So
very cool.
yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, let's now we're kind of heading in now towards the end of the podcast, and so you gave us three excellent utilizations of AI, and so I want to close it out with what are some of the other services that you offer, so that way anybody who's listening and they're looking to do a consult with you, how they can reach out, what are the services that else that you're providing, because our firm, we utilize your services as well, and so we're a customer too. So yeah, go ahead and let us know all the services that your company provides.
Yeah, so you can find everything that we do. Our website is absolutemarketing.io, and you can go there and find everything across the board. So we're a full service marketing firm. So we do everything from SEO, website development, app development. We run ads on Google, Facebook, Instagram, all of the different social medias. Uh, and then also we are mentioning the CRM implementations. The AI implementation is done through our CRM, and so it's all interconnected. And so when you're getting leads coming in, whether it's through the AI or through if we do ads for you, those are all going to be set up and inserted into the CRM, and we would do the whole setup for you. Um, and then one other aspect of SEO that is super interesting right now that we've gotten into is doing the searches where if somebody goes to search for a particular thing on ChatGPT, that your business shows up for that type of thing on the search results. So that's it's super exciting. And if you see now, if you try to do a search on Google for anything, the first thing you notice is at the very top, it's going to give
Yep.
you a AI response. And so part of
Yes.
the thing that we're doing with our SEO service is making it so that when the SEO or when Google or ChatGPT responds with with their or the response to their prompt, is that your business shows up as part of that.
Wow, that's awesome. That's
Yeah.
great. Well, Levis, I really appreciate your time. I know that taking an hour of your time is a lot, but I know that the viewers are going to learn a lot and from all of your advice and your experience, and obviously the tangible action items to implement AI into the business. Again, we're customers of yours. We've been implementing it as well, and you've been excellent, and your team has been great. So for anybody who's listening in, I don't believe your consultations are complimentary, correct?
That's right. Yeah. So we offer free consultations. If you want to reach out to me directly, I just mentioned my phone number is on, on the call here. So you can reach out to me one-on-one through a cell phone, or you can find my information on our website. And yeah, I'd be happy to take a look at your business and see what type of innovations we can provide to help you get to that next level.
Excellent. And it's absolutemarketing.io, correct?
Correct. Yes.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Levis, for your time. We super appreciate it. And to all of our B-Law members who are out there, thank you so much for being members. You guys are valued. We're honored to have you as members. And we look forward to promoting our Be Smart podcast, which will be held in July. And again, we'll have a awesome professional just like you, Levis, who's going to be on here to talk to us about some really important things for entrepreneurs, business owners. And again, thank you so much, Levis, for your time. Wishing you a great summer with your family. And hopefully I'll be seeing you soon.
Thanks, man. All right. Hey, great chatting with you all. And yeah, thanks for the invite, and we'll talk soon.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Levis. Take
All
care.
right. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.